Three homages. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Namanda, namanda, namanda,
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. So lovely to see you all. Happy to have you here. We are thankful and honored to just be here and share the Dharma together, taking a moment out of our lives. We will begin by chanting the Shoshinge, and you will find that in the seat back pocket in front of you or directly behind you if you're in the front row. And it is our book written over 800 years ago by our lineage founder, Shinran Shonin, the monk there with the tassels. And he composed this beautifully long, pleasant poem to teach us about our lineage teachers, the 7 teachers there on the wall next to Shinran. And it gives us principles to guide our lives and teach us how to move forward in more joy and peace and compassion. So it compresses all of his learning experiences, and it's just a very good thing to chant. It might be a little daunting in the beginning because it's in Japanese, but if you want to just sit and listen, that's fine, because really it's the feeling and the vibration that's the most important. But if you want to try it, it's in vertical columns, the traditional Japanese way, from right to left. So, as we are chanting the Shoshinge, we will be offering incense here at our Oshoko altar, and everyone is welcome and encouraged to do that. We offer in gratitude to the infinite wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha that surrounds us and lifts us and supports us every day. So please do that. You are more than welcome to if you're new. Just come on up and follow the person right in front of you. We have 2 other altars in our Hondo. The altar to Kannon Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva of compassion. If you want to send a loved one a little more intentional compassion or honor someone who has transitioned, you're welcome to do that at that altar. Offer a candle. And at this altar is our Medicine Buddha healing altar. So if you need a little extra healing or want to send out that healing energy, healing from upside down views or illnesses, physical, mental, spiritual, whatever that may be, if you just need a little extra healing, please offer incense at the Medicine Buddha altar. So here on the altar is Amida Buddha, offering us infinite wisdom and compassion. So please just feel that support as you come up to offer incense. It's really there. Thank you. Shoshinge. Kimyo muryo junyorai.
Namu fukashigi ko hozo bosai niji. Zai seiji zai obusho token shobu jodoin kokudo ninden shizen maku konryu mujo shushogan choho keu daiguze goko shi yui shi shoju juse myosho monji po Fuho muryo muhenko muge mutai koen no shoujo kangi chieko fudan nanshi mushoko chonichi ga kosho jinsei isai gunjo mukosho hongam yogo shoujo go Shishin Shingyo Ganni Joto Gakusho Daine Han Hishi Metno Ganjoju Nyorai Shoi Koshu Se Yui Se Mida Hongan Kai Gojoku Akuji Gunjo Kai Oshin Nyorai Ryojitun Gon Noho Ichinen Ki Aishin Fudan Bon no Tokune Han Bonsho Gyaku Hosai Enyu Nyoshu Shinyu Kai Chimi Seishu Shin Kojo Shogo Hino Suiha Mumyo An Tonnai Shinzo Shi Unmu Jofu Shinji Shinjin Ten Hinyoni Kofu Unmu Unmu Shige Myomuan Yakushin Kenkyo Daikyo Ki Sokuo Chose Go Akushu Isai Zen Makubon Bunin Monchin Yorai Guzegan Udengon Kodai Shogeisha Zeini Myo Fundarike Midabu Hongannen Jaken Kyoma Nakushujo Shingyo Juji Jinni Nan Nanshu Shina Mukashi Indo Saiten Shironge Chukaji Chiki Shikoso Kendai Shoko Se Shoi Nyorai Honze Oki Shaka Nyorai Yoga Sen Ishu Gomyo Nanten Jiku Ruju Daiji Shuto Se Shitno Zai Ha Umu Ken Sensei Daijo Mujo Ho Shokangi Ji Shoan Raku Kenji Nangyo Roku Shingyo Igyo Shido Raku Okunen Midabu Hongan Jinen Sokuji Nyu Hitjo Yui no Josho Nyorai Go Oho Daihi Guze On Tenjin Bosa Zoron Se Kimyo Muge Konyorai Eishu Tara Kenshinji Kosen Ocho Daisegan Koyu Hongan Rikieko Ido Gunjo Shoishin Kinyu Kudokudai Hokai Hitnyaku Nyudai Eishu Shu 徳子蓮華造世界即昇進用法昇進有言の人間人図入賞自用自王芸本自動乱両天使上皇乱小菩薩来三蔵ルシ十上教本書専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願方言栄光有他力少女死因唯心人惑前本部新人法承知承持即内藩非死無量光明道小雨修上回復系同社継承道南省唯名浄土活入万全自力変言中円満特合感染症三部三神慶音言造魔法明道非因異生造悪地偶税思案妖怪称名化全道独名武将医公愛上三両逆惑公明明語権二年開入本願大智慧行者小樹今後心狂気一年総合用意大東逆三人即小法小市上楽現心公開一大教変気安養可二祭先祖出身反戦人法系二道小弁流極十悪人唯小部外薬剤非正集中煩悩証言水不見大非無見上昇が本次元空妙仏教連民全幕本部人新宗教書後編集戦弱本願具悪性現来生じ臨伝芸平地義上位小子即入弱上無意楽非知信事に納入空教大自修士と上妻無変極辱悪同族自主愚道心唯過信しこそせナムアミダ丈夫のこの方は今に自己をへたまえ欲しいの ko uri yenum ki wa mona aku se no myo o terasunari. Namu Amida Ambuna Mu Amida Ambu Namu Amida Buna
like to invite any children who would like to go to Dharma school with Reverend Shelley. can I go? No. To go on with her as we sing them out a cappella today. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me all right? That's better. It's very directional, this mic. Our reading this morning is the Ambala Tika Rahula Vada Sutra, talking with Rahula under the mango tree. Thus I have heard, on one occasion, the Buddha was staying at the Bamboo Grove Monastery in the squirrels' feeding ground in Rajagaha. At the time, Venerable Rahula, his son, was still a novice student, just 7 years old. He was staying near a place called Mango Stones because of the pits of the fruit that paved the space under the spreading tree. Late one afternoon, the Buddha went there. Venerable Rahula saw him coming and set out a seat and water. The Buddha sat down and washed his feet. After bowing to the teacher, Rahula sat to one side. The Buddha left a little bit of water in the ladle and said, "Rahula, do you see this bit of water in the ladle?" "Yes, sir." That's how little of a spiritual seeker there is in anyone who feels no shame at telling a deliberate lie. Just a few drops. He tossed it away. Do you see how this leftover water is easily tossed aside? Yes, sir. That little bit of true seeker left in one who shamelessly tells lies is tossed away just that easily. Looking at the empty ladle, the Buddha said, "Now it is empty and hollow. One who lies is empty and hollow like this. Train yourself in thus. I will not tell a deliberate lie, even in jest." Rahula, what is a mirror for? For reflection, sir. In the same way, we make our actions of body, speech, and mind only with careful reflection. Whenever you think something, consider this. Will thinking this hurt me or others? Are these unwholesome thoughts with painful consequences? Will they lead to affliction and pain? If they lead to affliction and pain, then let the thoughts go. If wholesome of pleasant consequences and positive result, let it be. While thinking, consider this, and after the thought, reflect on it. Own up to unwholesome thoughts so as to cultivate restraint in the future. Thinking wholesome thoughts, we delight in joyful mind, practicing skillful mental qualities day and night. The same is true whenever you want to say something. Reflect on it. Will saying this harm myself or others? Are they unwholesome words of painful consequence? If they lead to affliction and pain, then do not say them. If it is wholesome, with positive results, then say it. While you are speaking, reflect on it, and after you have spoken, reflect again. If it has caused injury and pain, then you confess it to your teacher or to a Dharma friend. This done, exercise restraint in the future. But if on reflection you see that it had wholesome results, then stay refreshed and joyful of mind. Practice skillful mental qualities day and night. Whenever you want to do something, reflect on it. Will this action hurt me or others? Is it an unwholesome action with painful consequences? If you know it will lead to affliction and pain, then do not do it. But if you reflect and see it is a wholesome action with pleasant consequences and positive results, then do it. While you are making an action, reflect on it. And after you have taken an action, again reflect on it. Did my action lead to injury and pain? If it did, then reveal it. Lay it open to your teacher or to a Dharma friend. Having owned up to it, you cultivate restraint in the future. But if on reflection you see that it led to wholesome results, then stay refreshed and joyful of mind. Practice these skillful mental qualities day and night. Rahula, all the spiritual seekers of past, present, and future who optimize their actions of body, speech, and mind, do it by reflecting deeply. In just this way, Rahula, say to yourself, I will make my actions of body, speech, and mind more wholesome by quiet reflection. Thus we train ourselves. That is what the Buddha said to Rahula under the mango tree, surrounded by pungent stones of the fruit. Gratified, Venerable Rahula delighted in the Buddha's kind attention and wise words. We will now have a few moments of meditation. Thank you.
Om Mani Padme 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 Chanting that together felt so peaceful, I'm loath to continue talking or to start talking. But I will. Okay. Hello and welcome to Reno Buddhist Center. We're always happy to share the Dharma with friends in our Sangha, new friends and longtime friends. Buddhism is simple. It's subtle and effective. It really works. Sometimes, at first, that is not clear. We list, oh my Dharma chakra has disappeared. It was my prop for my, oh man. The many huni have cleaned it up. I was going to say that the 8 spokes of the Dharma wheel, you can see there on the podium, there's that Dharma wheel, and it has 8 spokes, and it seems very complicated because there's 8 spokes, and then there's the Four Noble Truths, and there's all this stuff. It's really simple, deep down, what the Buddha was teaching. If we just take our time and let it soak in, it'll be simple. Our topics are going back to basics. We talked about those Four Noble Truths a couple Dharma talks ago, and then we started working our way through the Eightfold Path. Being as there's 8 folds, that's an awful lot of things to talk about in one sitting, so we divide it into little groups. Last time was a wisdom group, and this time, so the whole Eightfold Path is just right understanding, just right thought, speech, livelihood, just right effort, mindfulness, and quietude. Those are the 8 spokes of the wheel that I had carefully placed on the seat yesterday so that I would have it to use as a prop. I'll find it, I'm sure, somewhere, some drawer somewhere. So, those are the 8 spokes of that wheel. We'll consider the second group about which were with regard to good conduct today. So that would be just right thought, speech, action, and livelihood. Each fold on the path is interlinked with the others, like the spokes of the wheel. It's a Dharma wheel, as a matter of fact. We call it a Dharma chakra. That interlinkage is pretty obvious with this group of four, because thought, speech, action, and livelihood clearly flow into each other. That's clear to me. I will attempt to make it clear to you. First, if we think something, then we say something, then we do something, and then we might do something for a living. So they're all connected that way. If our actions are wholesome and skillful, they will have great effect on our spiritual growth. Please don't be mistaken, because this sounds too simple. Just right conduct is very important. The most practical and effective part of the Buddha's teaching, really. Not grand ideas or philosophy, not amazing mystical practices. These are the actual ways that you live your life that influences your karma the most. They are very important. How does our conduct influence our karma, you might ask? If we are operating from a perspective of a delusional thought, some kind of a thought that just imbues everything we do but isn't really realistic. For instance, the thought, I must get every outcome I want to be happy. If you think that, it's the starting point for endless suffering. Over time, you'll get in the habit of thinking that. And the pain of thirsting for and grasping after will become a normal, everyday experience. It'll just be, that will be what life is like. How does Rick Hansen say it? He wrote a book called Buddha's Brain. It's a pretty good book. Pick it up and read it if you're interested. He said that neurons that fire together wire together. Our brain is the brain of a Buddha, which is wonderful. You have been gifted with the brain of a Buddha. The trick is, what you do with it. And the wonderful thing about that is that it's rewirable. You can set it up to be painful, or you can set it up to be joyful. It's partially up to you, as well as circumstances and everything else, your education, whatever. So each of us has the potentiality to see the world around us clearly and joyfully, except for these screwy wiring situations that we have set up, except for our habits of mind that support such false premises, like I have to get everything I want to be happy. That's silly. If we practice thinking in a wholesome way, then we can rewire those mind pathways to make wholesome thoughts easy, natural, habitual, to make experiencing joy normal. When we operate from a more reasonable premise, something like, let go of the outcome, enjoy the ride, then we habituate to that way of experiencing life. The thirsting for and grasping after will melt away. We experience the inherent joy of all life. We can suffer less and harm less. Because of that malleable quality of our mind, we can rehabit our thoughts, our speech, our actions, and our livelihood, and that puts us on a stable ground of gratitude for life. And we can approach these from the subtle wisdom of just right. These are the aspects of the Eightfold Path that I will talk about today. Thoughts, speech, actions, and livelihood. I call them good conduct on the path because they're fundamental actions of a Buddhist life. The Buddha always said, karma is made by our actions of body, speech, and mind. We heard that in the sutra. Indeed, karma, the word, means action, and it implies the habit energies that those actions create, the spiritual seeds that we plant that will bear fruit someday. Let me pause here just for a moment and point out that just right thought, speech, action, and livelihood, those are sama sankappo, sama vaka, sama kamato, and sama ajivo in Pali, are carefully fine-tuned qualities. This word sama means just right. Not too much, not too little, just so. Skillfully modulated aspects of the path. So every one of the spokes of the Dharma wheel there, we want to do it just right. If we over-effort, try too hard, there are many examples of that. I'm sure in your life you've run into people who tried too hard. I don't know, if you take the example of being good. Have you ever met anyone who is just trying to be good? They're very difficult to live with. It's just the way it is. You have to have a subtle quality to that, you know, being too helpful. Underfoot. The Buddha had there in one sutra, the Sona Sutra, he has a student who tries so hard at meditation that his feet are worn to bleeding and he can't do anything. He has to sit in his hut with his feet up. And the Buddha kind of counsels him that perhaps that is not the best course. And the same is true if you underdo it. Probably most of us are more experienced in underdoing it, but I know I am. Devadatta was an important student of the Buddha, actually one of the student's cousins, and Devadatta completely lost sight of the path because he underdid it. He didn't take it seriously. He thought, well, I'm the Buddha's cousin. I probably understand it all really well. Probably not. Provably not, actually. So, the qualities of the Eightfold Path are pursued in beautiful moderation and skillful application. Just right. That's the way we can say it. Looking closely at Sama Sankappo, just right thought. It is very important what you think. Think about it. Nothing happens at all on the spiritual path without being preceded by thought. What just right thought means is carefully leaving behind unwholesome thoughts and reactions. This, in turn, makes wholesome thoughts more likely to arise. They become your habit of mind. When unkind thoughts do arise, we exert some just right effort to let them go and replace them with wholesome and skillful thoughts. I will give you an example. I'm driving along. That bastard cut me off. We may all have had some form of that thought when we're driving a car. But if we replace that thought with the idea, well, he probably has somewhere important to go. There you go. You're no longer caught in that troublesome thought. We follow the path to cultivate and maintain skillful thoughts. So, every time it's a choice. The Buddha wants us to be aware of our thoughts and to be aware that our thoughts are not just thoughts, as some psychiatrists probably say. They do have effects on us. Habitually unkind thoughts lead to more suffering for you and for the rest of the world. As he taught Rahula in the sutra, mindfully reflecting on your thoughts and skillfully interceding when needed is what just right thought is all about. Habitually directing the mind to wholesome thoughts is an active and practical way to turn the experience of life around. Shinran Shonin, our founder here, who backs me up, offered this simple practice of the Nembutsu. These scrolls have the Nembutsu written on them. Nembutsu is bringing the Buddha to mind. It's propagating a thought, a just right thought. When we think of the Buddha, we're starting to take refuge. We realize that the Buddha is a vast, compassionate force in the universe. And after a short time of going through the motions, we can really feel gratitude. It wells up when we bring the Buddha to mind. Namu Amida Butsu. That's the thought. There's a short version we say, so it explained, it says, I take refuge in the Buddha of infinite light. That's what that means. There's a short way to say it. You may have heard me sometimes at chanting. After I finish the chant, I'll bow and I'll kind of mumble, Namandabs, Namandabs, Namandabs. That just has like the first syllable each part of Namu Amida Butsu. It's easier to say. But when we do this, and it's propagated by the thought, gratitude naturally flows into us. With the mind in gratitude mode, other, less wholesome mind states are not possible. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time. It doesn't work. Gratitude excludes unwholesome mind states. It is most ingenious. As I have said, each fold of the path is intersupporting of the other folds. Right thought doesn't happen without effort and understanding and mindfulness in a just right amount. Like the spokes of the wheel, they support each other. The next fold in the path is just right speech, samavaka. In the karmic cascading series of body, speech, and mind, speech is the first fold that has a real-world impact. A thought may change you, but your neighbor is unaffected until you start ranting out loud. Then they are affected. That is a significant escalation of karma. By the same token, if we say the Nembutsu in our thoughts, it only affects us. If we join in chanting the Nembutsu 10 times all together, as we did after our Shoshinge chant, it is has a powerful positive effect on everyone, even if they're not chanting. The Buddha was very specific about just right speech. We should take great care what we say out loud, because it is very difficult to unring a bell. I was going to do a example of that, but that doesn't make any sense because there's no way to unring it. You can stop it from ringing, but you will all have remembered hearing the sound. People heard you say whatever that was, and the karmic effect is set in motion. When you open your mouth and say that unfortunate thing, you almost immediately know that it was a mistake, but it's too late. So, to rescue us from the foot-in-mouth disease, as we call it, that habit of saying ill-considered things, the Buddha gave us a clear test, a 4-step test. When we are about to say something, let's check these things. Is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it agreeable? And is it the right time? Okay, so first one. Lots of things can be truthful, but you do not need to say them. The classic example, as a man, is if you say, yes, that dress does make you look fat. Don't say that. You never need to say that. The second one, so many things we say are unhelpful. If you'd packed a heavy coat, you wouldn't be cold. Thanks. It's just not helpful. I'm cold. Okay. The third one, many things we say are not agreeable. Example, you always jump to conclusions. It's not agreeable. It's just critical. It is unsupportive. So, and then the fourth one, most important, well, and they're all important, but the fourth one is interesting. If you think about these 4 steps, the fourth one, checking the timing, will catch you for all the other ones. If you miss and don't judge them correctly, even so, when you get to, is it the right time, you probably won't say it. Okay, so the fourth one is timing. Even if the comment you would like to say is true, helpful, and agreeable, you ask the question, is it the right time to say this? Let's take an example. If your friend orders the pear cobbler at the restaurant, pointing out that he is violently allergic to pears when he orders, rather than after he finishes the last bite of cobbler, it really does matter. Though true, helpful, and agreeable, timing here can be the difference between loving kindness, remember, you can't eat pears, and outright harm if you just don't say anything. In just right speech, we always advise against lying, divisive speech, or abusive words, and idle chatter that contributes little. They just don't help. So as the Buddha said in the sutra, don't do it, or don't say it. And what of just right action? Sama kamato. Thoughts lead to words, we've seen that, and words lead to actions. There is a connection between these. If unringing a bell is difficult, undoing a deed is even harder. In all things, we want to practice ahimsa. Ahimsa is our Pali word for not harming or non-harming. I call it harmlessness. We can't be in the world without causing some harm to others. Situations happen, right? But, and maybe we'll have a spontaneous commitment here. How many of you will commit to harming less? Wow, almost half. More than half. So, good. Just less. That's all I'm asking. That's the proposition here. Ahimsa. To follow actions that harm less is a noble goal and an achievable goal. Normally, we don't give our actions much consideration. We just do stuff. That's normal. I remember a high school friend, Doris, what she said to her father after she had driven the car, really his car, into Lake Tahoe. I don't know. I just wanted to see what would happen. She didn't really consider it. Well, actually, what happened was she didn't drive for the rest of the year. That's what happened. But he did give her license back after that. She would tell that story, and it would immunize most of us to driving vehicles into lakes. The point the Buddha makes is that we can cause irreversible harm with our actions. So we must be vigilant and aware and careful about what we do. In the sutra, the Buddha offered that framework to little Rahula. I just love this sutra. And I apologize if I use it as a reading too often, but it's just so sweet. They're sitting together under this mango tree. I can see the polished mango pits beneath the tree because it's just such a opulent tree that it bears fruit every year. So there's just piles and piles of pits underneath it, and they're worn smooth by all the people. Okay, that's not part of the thing, but I love that sutra. And they're father and son, but the Buddha has kind of gone beyond fatherhood to being a dear parent to all beings. And yet, in that moment, he's sitting with Rahula. So, and he said, whenever you want to do something, reflect on it. Will this harm me or others? Is it an unwholesome action with painful consequences? If you know it will lead to difficulty, then do not do it. But if on reflection you see it is wholesome with pleasant consequences, then do it. Just right action is a vital habit aligner. If we are reflective and sensitive, we can get in the habit or create good karma that will follow us through our whole life. We can align our actions with wholesome results, helpful, kind, supportive actions. The simple action of giving a donation every time we visit the temple. There's little boxes on the wall. They're the same color wood as the wall, so sometimes people don't see them. But there's one there and there's one back there. In other rooms we use baskets, but either way. When we do that, when we make that into a habit of not leaving the temple without leaving a little something in the basket, we're consciously and actively supporting the Dharma teachings with a habitual, wholesome action. It has important consequences. This place remains here for other people to come through the door and learn the Dharma. Try it today. Okay. The last fold of the Eightfold Path I will mention is just right livelihood. Sama ajivo. Our work is a daily habit of action. So I always feel like I link that to right action. It's a subset. Sometimes when I write it, I'll write just right action in big letters and then right livelihood in smaller letters. I don't know why I do that, but it's a subset. Just right livelihood. If your job is honest, helpful, valued, filled with joyful moments, that's right livelihood. And if you hate work because they make you steal from the customers and you're lying all along, you really need another job. So, for folks in the service, I'm sometimes asked if a job protecting and defending is right livelihood, but with the guns and bombs and everything. But yes, it is. Because it is in the service of civilization and cherished values. But if you're in such a job and you feel an emotional charge when you destroy something, like before, you really need another job. That's not right livelihood, and you should shift. The job we do is important because we do it so much that it has vast karmic effects. Imagine if I had a nickel for every day I've gone to work in my whole life. That's 52,000 cents. Okay, so it's $520. It's not really worth that much, but the point is, if you do a little good every day, it really does add up. You know, I'm just realizing I could have made it, if I had $5 every time I went to work, then I'd have $52,000, and that would be actually sound like something. Sorry. It comes in dips and drabs and drips, good karma. And so habituating these positive actions and making your work a positive environment is important. It's very important. So, as we walk the Eightfold Path, we use just right thought, speech, action, and livelihood to make progress, spiritual progress. To say it another way, think nice thoughts and get in the habit of thinking like that. Say good things. Say helpful things will become natural. Do good and it will become second nature. Find a job that helps you grow on your spiritual path. That is good conduct on the Eightfold Path. Our simple Nembutsu practice, as I offered, is good conduct on the path. We're thinking and saying and coming to the temple to do chanting on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. The Nembutsu orients us in gratitude and compassion. Gratitude for the compassion we receive. And it spurs us to act with compassion toward others. It frees us to act with compassion to all beings. Wholesome actions of body, speech, and mind help us to reach peace and joy. The Buddha shared the Eightfold Path out of his great wish for all beings. Let's share that together. I'll say it first, and then you can repeat after me. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. May peace and harmony fill your heart. Namanda, namanda, namanda. Thank you. At this point, we usually sing our Reno Buddhist Center theme song. I think it's on page 49 of the service book. If you would stand, we'll have music accompanying us. Very nice. I would point your attention to some announcements that are printed in the order of service. They're all here. The most important one is there's tea and treats downstairs, so you just go through this door in town and there's tea and cookies and stuff like that. We will have newcomers circle down there. George Killeran is raising his hand. He's the person, if you find him at a table and you're new or you want to come to the newcomers circle and we can ask and answer questions about Buddhism, that is wonderful. There's other things listed there, but our what do you call this? The bonus, what do you call that when you put a bug like that on something? It's our special today is Buddhism 101 class. That will be on July 23rd, 30th, and into August, 4 sessions from 10 a.m. to noon. Those are Saturday mornings, and we'll dig into the basic concepts of Buddhism. So if you'd like to participate in that class, if you're new, that would be a great way to get introduced to Buddhism. Just sign up. There's a sign-up link on the website, or send an email to the email address that's hidden on the back by the calendar. Or just come to the class. That would be fine too. Okay. Thank you all very much. Namanda. 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 Thank you. Nice to